Action.
All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for tuning in and checking it out. We're at the Malibu factory in Loudon, Tennessee, on the Tennessee River. And we got a perfect night out here. We got some glassy water. And right now we're on the 23 LSV. This is my favorite boat in the Malibu line. I have one of these at home in Orlando that I ride behind every day when I'm home. And so we just want to kind of get on the water tonight with y'all and kind of go through some of the performance features of the boat, kind of how I like to set it up. We're also going to do a little bit of foiling out here. I know foiling is getting really popular behind the boat, and so I'm just going to kind of go over a few things, kind of how to set the boat up to make a nice, long, fun wave, and go over kind of like the gear that I like to ride, and then we're going to get on the water and do some turns, do some lines, and kind of just walk you through some of the steps on some of the fun stuff I like to do behind the boat. So let's get started up here in the helm. We got Rob up here driving for us tonight. Thanks, Rob.
Hey, buddy.
So you can control everything on the main screen here. So the first thing you want to do is kind of, you want to add ballast to the boat, and that's going to, get that boat to sit a little deeper. But for foiling, it's not quite like wake surfing where you want to get that thing really sitting nice and deep. We're looking for like a long, clean wave on the foil. So usually start with the ballast about half. Kind of depends on how many people you got on the boat, but there's just 5 of us out here tonight. So we got the ballast at half. I'm going to add a little bit more to the rears. So I'm just going to select these 2 tanks here, and I'm going to go to 75% on those. And then the next thing we're going to do, actually we're already in lift mode here, so this is the power wedge settings over here. Also with this, when you're surfing, you want to make that wave a little steeper. Most likely if you're going to be surfing, you're going to be using the wedge on a 2 or maybe a 3. But for the foil, it's really good in lift mode and 1. So it makes it just nice and efficient. And you'll see once we get out there too, we're going a lot faster. We're going to stretch that wave out and make it nice and clean. So the next thing over here is the speed setting. You can use the arrows up here to kind of change the speed, or if you click the center one here, you can go right to where you want to select it. So I'm going to go 12.3. Usually go a little faster, but out here on the river, there's a little bit of a current that we're going to be going into, so I'm just going to back it down just a little bit more. So these are pretty much all the settings that we're going to need. Speed here, power wedge, and the ballast tanks. And then we also have the surf band. So this is awesome. I can wear this when I'm riding out there, and I can adjust all this stuff. I can do my transfers, like when I'm ready, I can just hit this button here, and we're going to do a couple out there, so I'll show you how that works. But yeah, this is a super cool feature. So you can kind of adjust your speed and your wedge settings and do your transfers, and you can also adjust the music too. So that's super cool. So, all right, Rob, you ready?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Rip it up, bud.
I'm gonna throw this on real quick, and then grab the rope here. And I'll talk about my board a little bit too. I'm riding the Hyperlight Ute board. It's a wake surf board that's also a foil board, so it's a great addition for the boat. You can kind of pair it with any foil setup that you want. I love riding the lift stuff. They make awesome wings, really good for the boat and in the ocean as well. My favorite setup for the boat is this one right here. This is a 28-inch mast with the V2 150 surf wing. This is a very versatile wing for guys up to like maybe 190 pounds or so behind the boat. But it's just really good. It pumps really well on the flat. It turns really sharp, has lots of lift. And it is kind of like a mid-range wing too, so it's also not bad for teaching people. You're not going to get those quick starts that you would on the bigger wings and stuff too. So, and then I run it with the 25 stabilizer, which kind of just keeps it nice and loose, and so you can do some nice turns and stuff too. So yeah, if you want to check out some of that stuff, I really like the lift. The lift wings are awesome. So okay, let's see here. Just gonna get this rope out. And then, okay, so we're just gonna go out there. I'm just gonna do a little jump start here, and then I'm just gonna kind of pump around on the wave a little bit. I'm gonna kind of show you like how to trim the wing up, kind of how to power the wing up and where to stay in the zone out there. And then I'm gonna do some turns and stuff, maybe a couple transfers, and then we'll show you some pumping and then like some loops and kind of how to transfer to the back rollers and stuff, okay? So, get you guys going a little bit here. Okay, Rob, you ready? Here we go. So now we're back here. You can kind of see, we got a couple angles here too, so you'll be able to see it from the side and from the front. So you can see we got the boat going, 12.5 miles an hour. So I can get really far back behind the boat. When you're surfing, you're kind of up near closer to the platform. But here we have this nice clean wave. and lots of transition here. And that's where you're gonna get all the speed on the wing. So when you're foiling, you really just wanna think about when you need speed, you wanna just pull the wing up and then you push on your front foot to get speed. See how I'm coming towards the boat now? And then when you gotta bleed some speed off, you gotta kind of go out in the flats to kind of bleed it off. So when you're first learning, that's like the big, like a big kind of tip to have is you don't really have to pump, you just gotta lift the wing up a little bit and get on some transition, and then that thing's gonna fly for you. So then you can start working some turns in. You know, the wing's super fast, no drag, so pretty fun. Okay, we're gonna do a little transfer here. So I'm gonna use the surf band here to signal it. And then you really just wanna take some speed and just kind of line drive it right through the whitewash. And then you can fade right up into that pocket. And yeah, riding backhand super fun too. Kind of carve it up a little bit. Kind of chase it a little. Pull in. Woo. All right, let's head back to the other side. So I'm gonna hit the button over here. I'm gonna get some speed, I'm gonna line drive it. Drop right in. Try to get back in the sun over here a little bit. So there's a couple different other ways you can transfer back. First one is if you wanna just start to get a little speed off and start working on your pump in the flat water. So you wanna kind of trim that wing up, take some speed, kind of keep it high through the trough, and then start pumping. That's kind of the easiest one to do. That's kind of the first one. Come off the wave and then pump yourself back to the first one. So then when you want to start transferring to the second roller, you want to drop back as far as you can on the first wave, way back here like where the white water is. Now you want to trim it up and you want to turn away from the boat. So that boat's going to separate from you. Now you want to come around, and I come around, I want to get my eyes right on that roller where I want to go. So now I'm going right to the biggest part of the wave, and I can just trim it up and be right in the spot. So that's really important when you're foiling behind the boat, is really keep your eyes up. If you start looking down at your board a lot, you kind of get tunnel vision and it keeps you down. You want to kind of look around to where you want to go. So, all right, we'll do a couple turns on this roller. Once you get a little more advanced or you start getting the feel for the pumping, you can do a loop pump too. So this is you just want to get a little speed here, and now you want to go full loop. Right into the fourth roller. So, and all these waves have tons of power on them, and they have energy basically until the boat stops. So you can ride these, you can go really far back. If you put a little inside turn on it, like I'm on the right side, so we put a right turn on it, it stacks the rollers up even more. But yeah, once you're back here, you can kind of just cruise. All right, so we're gonna kill the boat here. And watch, this wave's got power the whole time. I can just pump this whole thing all the way back to where the boat stopped. I might try to go get one more back here. Roller's still going. All right, I'm gonna pump back to the boat. All right. Made it. All right. Lost my breath a little out there.
Made you work
that was fun. Yeah, this wave's so good. So sweet. So yeah, so hope you guys learned a little something there. You know, the foiling definitely takes a little bit of time. This starts a little weird at first. It's a lot different than wake surfing. But man, it's really rewarding once you first learn it. Man, I'm out of breath a little bit. So when you yeah, once you get the start figured out, and then yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And really think about, one thing I think about a lot is, instead of like riding the board like a wake surfer, I'm thinking about using the board to control the wing. You're really just flying that wing under the water, so you're just kind of using that board. So like the wing and the board are on the same angle, so if you got that nose of that board coming up, that wing's gonna be coming out of the water soon too. So yeah, so let's
you want
see
to
if
do
there's
some
any
Q&A?
questions. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, for sure, guys. Thanks a ton for tuning in. Yeah, I'm just going back to our comments here. We got a couple questions here. What's your favorite trick you've ever landed behind a 23 LSV?
Oh, that would be a wake-to-wake kickflip.
Wake-to-wake kickflip.
For sure, yeah. I mean, that's kind of an elusive trick for me. I've only landed probably 10 or 12, maybe, like good ones.
Yeah.
Like behind the Malibus, and yeah, I remember one on my lake that was just, man, it felt effortless, and those are the
perfect,
best ones, yeah. But
of course.
But yeah, I mean, I love wake skating behind my boat, and yeah, just doing. I got this one cove in my lake, like the back cove, and man, I just love doing like 4 or 5 trick lines, like going into that thing. Like that's just, you put down 4 or 5 tricks in a row. That feels super good too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's see, man. You started riding for Malibu when?
Like the fall of 2001.
Fall of 2001.
So yeah, it's been 20
years now.
Yeah, it's been a good ride, man. Yeah, the boats have changed a lot, but man, the wakes have just gotten bigger and better, and just the performance you get out of these boats with just a few touch of a buttons, and how easy it is to set the boat up. Anyone can kind of drive for you. It just takes all the guesswork out of it, and it just makes it super easy and enjoyable for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's especially true with the 23 LSV as well. What are some of your favorite? What's a favorite feature that you use every single time you ride?
Well, I'm using all 3 of the performance features. I'm using the power wedge, I'm using the ballast, and the speed control.
Yeah.
With that, you can kind of do everything. I don't know, man. There's a lot of. I like the surf band a lot. I like being able to control it, especially when I'm wake surfing. I can kind of change the wave, depending on like what tricks I'm doing, kind of. And on a skimboard, you kind of can flatten it out a little bit. Put the wedge on 1 or 2.
Sure.
And I can just do that without having to holler at the driver and do that stuff too. But yeah, just the way all the boats set up. I love the plug and play bags. When we go out with only 2 people, 3 people on the boat, we can fill those things up. We basically can fill the whole locker up with water and just get the wake super big.
Yeah.
But then when you got a bunch of people on the boat, you don't need all that extra water weight. Those bags just kind of lay flat in there. And yeah, so you can get the wake totally dialed in, whether you're going out with 2 people or 10 people.
Yeah, for sure. All right, another question here. What's your favorite place you've ever ridden? Wakeboard, wake skate, wake surf, any of it? I
would say Tahiti. I think it was 2010. We shot the Billabong Out of the Pond movie over there. And yeah, we were there for a week or 10 days or so. And I remember this one session over in Moorea that was just like, I don't know, 8 feet of water, all these big coral heads. And this was like kind of before drones and everything too. So you couldn't really see it from the air, but man, it was like riding in just paradise, super just crazy spot. I remember that, and riding in the channel, like in front of Chopu and stuff, being over there. So that was a pretty amazing trip.
From Landon here, can you save a speed/wave preset while you're on the water?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the boat comes pre-programmed with like left surf, right surf, a couple different wakeboard ones, and you can also pre-program those for you, but you have to do all that on the main screen. So once you kind of set up and know kind of what you want, you can program that. You can name it whatever you want, so when it's your turn to ride, you can just click on that and the boat's ready to go.
Cool. Yeah, sweet. We got Megan Smith here. For an extra busy lake, sounds like she's on, pretty something like Lanier.
Any lake this summer? Yeah,
any lake this summer. Coming to a lake near you.
Yeah.
How would you adjust your settings for a smoother ride for a beginner?
Smoother ride surfing. I would start. I like to start with like the ballast tanks at like half. You can always add more weight from there, but that way you know you're going to get a nice clean wave, and then you can kind of adjust it with the wedge and stuff too. And then you can always add weight once you're going, just to kind of keep it like totally dialed in for each rider. The presets are nice to like kind of get you right in the general area, but when I'm pulling people, I'm adjusting stuff all the time. I'm like moving a little weight around. I'm if you're in a shallow spot, I'll give it a little more wedge. So you're always just kind of looking to see what the wave's doing, and you can make those adjustments once you kind of understand how all the systems work.
All right.
And and one more feature too, if you're in rough water a lot, if you're cruising through rough water without riding, like say you're just going back to the dock or something, if you keep your wedge down in lift mode, it really holds the back end of the boat down, and you don't get that bounce. You don't get the bow rise on the takeoff, and then you don't get that bounce. We've done a lot of these wakeboat adventure trips, and we're doing long runs, like through pretty rough water. We were just down on the Keys a couple weeks ago, And when you run the wedge in lift mode, it just really holds the back end of the boat down. It's like a stabilizer, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's a really nice feature if you're doing a lot of rough water riding too, if you're just kind of cruising around the lake to get to the smooth stuff.
All right, I got a wake skate question for you
All
since
right, my favorite.
you're a legend. Just tips on helping beginners on a wake skate.
Well, you got to get out there and ride. You know, it takes a lot of practice. Try to get a good board. You know, that makes a big deal too. But yeah, I mean, you know, you definitely want to start like riding like, you know, unweighted boat basically. You know, just with the wedge on one or something, it's going to give you a nice clean wave. You want to start with lip tricks. If you have a wakeboard background, you can probably start jumping the wake a little bit. But yeah, I mean, really just start with some lip slides, some like front boards. You know, obviously the first trick, like wake skate trick you want to learn is a shove it, you know, backside shove. That's a good one to kind of start unlocking some of the other ones. They all kind of, you know, with wake skating, all the tricks that you learn, they kind of build off one another. You know, you learn a shove, then you learn a 3 shove, and then you learn a front shove, and then you learn a front big, you know. So there's like, yeah, once you start kind of learning them, you can start kind of checking them off and doing that. But yeah, it's just, you know, time on the water. Try to ride in really good conditions. You know, it's really hard in the wind. So if you can find some smooth water, that's going to really like increase your chances of learning quickly too.
All right. Let's see. Margarita says, "How long have you been foiling behind a Malibu?" But when was like? I mean, we went through, kind of touched on your first time like as a Malibu athlete.
Sure.
So I can even go even further with that. So how long have you foiled behind a Malibu? When was your first time ever you skied or wakeboarded or anything behind a Malibu?
It was, I think in 90, or no, it was in 2000. Well, I think maybe I probably got some rides in Florida around then, but I remember I got invited, Malibu invited me to the Just Ride tournaments back in the day, and they were these rail events. They were like invite only. I was wake skating, everyone else was wakeboarding and stuff, and so I got invited to those. And like, yeah, did pretty well. Like we were hitting, you know, it was really rail heavy and stuff, so I could kind of keep up with those guys doing some of that stuff. Or not keep up with them, but just, you know, hit all the same rails and stuff like that. So, I mean, I definitely remember riding behind those VLXs in those events and having a blast behind those. And that's kind of how my relationship started with Malibu too. So that was just like I always remember that as like, yeah, my kind of my introduction to it. And then with foiling, yeah, I mean, I started, I don't know, about 5 years ago or so. And yeah, I got linked up with Lyft, and yeah, it's been awesome ever since.
Yeah, sweet. All right, how did you get into water sports, like from the get-go? When was the first time you water skied? How did you get into the sport?
Yeah, I was with my family, my dad's family in Indiana on Patoka Lake. I think I was 5 or 6 years old, and I remember seeing my dad's cousin and my dad too, just on a slalom ski doing these big turns and just throwing up these huge walls, you know. And I was like, man, that's the coolest thing ever. Yeah. And learned how to like double ski that day, and just always remembered. I think I only did it one other time after that, but I moved to Florida when I was 11 or 10, or I think I was 10. And we got a boat right away, and just totally got into it. And moving to Orlando, that's kind of where everything was happening. So I was hanging out at Performance Ski and Surf as much as I could, and you know, doing some water ski events. That's where I met like the Boniface and a bunch of people that that we still ride with to this day, and all that stuff. So yeah, I was just kind of being in the right place at the right time, and then I just loved it. You know, went from water skiing to wakeboarding to, you know, wake skating, and now foiling, and now I just kind of like to do a little bit of everything.
For sure. Got some people wanting to see more about the foil as well. Let's see if we can get them in close and see if we can get the view of the airplane.
We can talk about a few things here. So this is the Lift V2 150. So that's just the front wing that we're talking about here. This is like considered like a mid aspect wing. Like a low aspect wing would be like a lot longer. It'd be like from here to here, and usually have like a little bit more rake in the front like this. So, and then a high aspect wing would be a lot skinnier. It would be like this and a lot wider, like 37 inches wide. So behind the boat, I like the mid aspect wings because I'm looking for kind of a combination of being able to pump the flat water, but also be able to do some like really aggressive turns and get the wing out, and doing airs and stuff. The wing just kind of comes back into the water a lot easier. So you kind of base your front wing off of how big you are and kind of the conditions that you're going to be on. If you're just going to be riding boat, you know, like I said, I think I said before earlier, like you could ride this wing up to like 180, maybe 190 pounds. And then you're gonna have to start working a little harder on it, where you could go up to like the next size up, which is like a 200. And that's just gonna give you more lift with a little bit more weight on top of it. But it's still gonna give you, it's basically the same design, just enlarged a little bit. So you kind of pick, you know, the 150 and the 200 are really good behind the boat. And then you can totally change the ride too, just by changing the stabilizer, which is like the rear wing here. This is the smallest one that Lift makes. It's a 25 square inch. They make a 32, a 38, and a 48 too. So basically the bigger the stabilizer is, the tighter it is, and like kind of the more stable it is too. So for me, I want it to be nice and loose. I want to be able to whip it You know, but if you're just learning or you just want a little bit more stable ride, you can go to like a bigger size here. And then you also have like the different mast options. Like Lift makes a 28 and a 32 inch mast. So I like the 28 on the boat. I like the 32 as well, but the taller masts are kind of designed more for like the high aspect wings. Those wings are a lot wider, like I said, so when you turn them, you want to kind of be able to keep the wing in the water. So having that longer mast kind of just gives you, yeah, more power and like more ability to like keep the wing in the water and keep it going. So, but yeah, there's a lot of equipment out there. I really love the lift stuff, but man, if you can get anything just to get started, and then man, once you ride a few things, you'll see, you know, what works the best out there.
Right on, right on.
So,
well, man, that's as this beautiful Tennessee sunset.
Yeah, this is so nice out here.
We got perfect weather today.
Yeah, for sure,
thanks
man.
a ton for coming out and riding behind the 23 LSV.
Yeah, man.
Always a joy to watch you shred.
It was my pleasure, man. I love this boat, and yeah, Malibu's awesome. And yeah, if you can get on one this summer, I would definitely recommend it. Just yeah, try to get a surf on one or a ride anywhere you can. Check out your local dealer, and yeah, there's a bunch of boats out there. So yeah, you guys will love it.
And thanks all you guys for tuning in to this live stream on Malibu Boats Facebook page. Be sure to follow us on Instagram as well and Twitter. Like, rate, and subscribe, all that good stuff.
All right.
See you guys next time.
See you next time.
Yeah, dude. Look at this sunset.
Yeah, it's so perfect. Good timing.
Yeah.
Right when the trees go, or the